Radio's Music Spotlight.
Y'all know what time it is.
Are you ready to go backstage and meet your favorite artists?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, let's hit it, y'all.
Put on your all-access pass.
Thank you so much. This means so much to me. I appreciate it. Woo!
And let's go backstage with host Trisha Cruz.
Ian Robert Astbury is an English rock musician and songwriter, best known to all of you as the lead vocalist for the rock band The Cult. He graced us here at Playboy Radio with a phone call from his hotel room in New Orleans to talk about his music, the state of the world, and the Velvet Underground style. Thank you so much for talking to us here at Playboy Radio. This is Trisha Cruz, and I have Ian Astbury from The Cult. Thank you for talking to us here at Playboy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Can you give us a visual of where you're at right now?
A visual.
A visual.
I'm in a beige hotel room in Austin.
Well, Austin's a nice city. Are you having a good time there?
Curtains are drawn.
Oh, so it's nice and sexy and dark, kind of getting your rest.
Dark. Yeah, it's been pretty. Past few months have been pretty hectic. So my schedule's really erratic, and probably been sleeping 4 hours a night for about the past few months.
Oh, you poor thing.
It's like when you're on the road, you kind of
expect that, right?
Wherever you're, if you're in Tokyo, Paris, doesn't matter where you are. Mm-hmm. The hotel room, you just draw the curtains, and you're in this kind of a similar environment. So.
It's all the same, right? When you're in the room by yourself.
Yeah, but I'm working, and I'm working on set up for the new record, and there's a lot going on right now. So. And
we're very excited about that. Is it going to be released in 2016?
I hope so.
Woo! I am so excited.
Yeah, 2016.
What can we expect?
I can tell you the mantra of the record.
Okay.
Like movies have a slug line. Mm-hmm. The mantra of this record is defend the beauty.
Ooh, I love that.
And it's interesting. I mean, we're seeing a lot of commentary about the state of the human race in 21st century.
Yes.
Where we're at.
Yeah.
But not seeing much solution or insight into the malaise and how to move through that.
Yeah.
How do we get active? How do we overcome this kind of space that we're in right now of rampant materialism, self-aggrandizement, narcissism, celebrity culture that has a negative impact. There's some celebrity culture that has a very positive impact. But obviously, a lot of celebrity culture, the lack of strong patriarchs, and they do exist, and the lack of strong matriarchs, and they do exist. Mm-hmm. It's the media celebrates a certain archetype, and that is good for media in terms of selling advertising.
Right.
But in terms of how impactful it is in our culture and our society and where we are as a species, mm-hmm. We will pay for this.
We sure will. I keep saying, the movie Idiocracy. I don't know if you saw that.
No, but I love the title.
Yeah. It's where society just keeps getting dumber and dumber because we're so captivated by celebrities.
Yeah. Great. Does Idiocracy offer any solution, or is it just pointing out the obvious?
No, they're pointing out the obvious. And the thing was, this film was made in late 80s, early 90s. So everything that film has is happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's been happening. This has been happening for millennia.
Yeah.
This has been happening since dudes took over in the cave and said to women, you know what, we got this. You just do the cooking and make the babies, and we got this. And therein lies a huge shift. You see very strong matriarchal societies where, a woman's ability to produce a child, mm-hmm. birth a child into the world, is like one of the ultimate acts of creativity. Mm-hmm. Yet somebody who makes a pair of sneakers is celebrated more than a mother.
Oh, that is so true. Yeah. It's sad.
The value, don't get me wrong, I'm a sneakerhead. I love sneakers. And, I'm actually downsizing my collection because it's just become so gauche.
How many sneakers do you have?
I have no idea. I literally have...
Wow.
I've got, I don't know.
You can't even count. That's how many.
I'm trying to visualize because, I know in my house I've probably got about 60 pairs of sneakers.
Okay.
But then I've got a lock-up space as well, and there's probably about another 200 pairs in there.
Well, you know what? We have to walk in something, right? Because I love sneakers too. Is there a favorite that you have? A favorite pair? I like my old school Jordans.
Jordans. I mean, I got my first Jordans in the 80s. I think the first Jordans I wasn't on it quick. I got like a pair of Jordan 5s.
Okay, yeah.
When they came out. Mm-hmm. But I think my favorite sneakers right now are a pair of Raf Simons, his own brand sneaks from about 3 collections ago. And a company called Number 9 from Japan from about 2006. I like a lot of Japanese designers. It's interesting because I think Nike kind of got the idea to really blow up their whole colorways and exploitation of the Jordan brand through the
Japan, yeah.
Sneakers through the Japanese collectors coming into the US. I mean, the Air Max 95, the neon Air Max 95s, I got those when they came out, and they were going through the roof. They were on the gray market for $1,000 immediately, and Jordans were really blowing out. But that's an interesting thing because it's like the culture of sneakers and what it represents in an urban environment. I mean, if you got a pair of dope kicks on, people ultimately, I mean, they check you out. It's like, yo, what's up? And then they look at your shoes.
Yep.
And if shoes are wrong, sometimes conversations don't go anywhere.
Exactly.
So sneakers have become like a symbol of, it tells a lot of person about what kind of footwear they have.
It sure does, especially on a man, because a man, you're not like women, the dress, there's all kinds of styles for women, but for men, it's more accessorizing. So shoes, belts, watches. I
think so, but I think men's style's getting way more dope now. I think that, apparently, because I've got a fashion. I make clothes. I make bags, I make clothes, and I have been doing for like 15 years. And I used to make my own clothes when I was a kid. I used to sew my own clothes. I was into Vivienne Westwood.
Oh, yes.
I made my own clothes. I was a punk kid. I mean, I used the materials I had around me, muslin, cottons, old materials. My sister took an old woman's leopard skin coat when I was like 17. We cut it in half and made a leopard bomber out of it.
Love it.
I mean, so it was whatever was around, and I've always loved clothes, and I've always loved style. But men's clothing, I keep an eye on it, is like blowing through the roof. I mean, today Yeezy 1 was released, season 1.
Yeah.
Dropped everywhere. And it's not just dropping in kind of boutiques. It means dropping in like everywhere from Barney's through there's a lot of boutiques around the US that's dropping. And it's really interesting, and people are like a ravenous, consumption of this. Everyone's been waiting for this collection and talking about this collection, and it's interesting, the collection, because most of the collection is based upon utilitarian and sportswear, and kind of with a bit more of a 21st century twist. And you can obviously see influences from things like The Matrix and Star Wars, and it's
true.
a really interesting silhouette. It's an interesting silhouette, and I think a lot of guys, there's a lot more choice for men now. Fashion.
Yeah, definitely. More so than back in the day, because back in the 80s, there was just a few sneaker stores, and that was it. Now there's more boutique stores all over the world.
Oh, yeah. It's like huge business. I mean, that's why Nike is the company it is. That's why Michael Jordan is a billionaire.
I get all my sneakers from a store called Undefeated. I don't know if you've heard of that store.
I'm very well acquainted with Eddie Cruz, and the owners of Undefeated.
And James Bond.
I know James Bond. I mean, I'm an old school head in that way. I'm well acquainted with those guys. I've been around it for a minute. I've been in this. See, it's not something I really talk about in interviews, because most people want to talk, trivialize or marginalize, 20 years ago or something, 25 years ago. And it's like, wow.
I want to hear about now. I want to hear
to be honest with you, I'm only interested in now. The narrative is now.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
We can all sit back, and you can sit back and you can stroke your old vinyl and love it and cuddle up next to it, and that's beautiful. And we honor that, and we honor people that come to our shows, and we'll play, we'll play like the anthemic songs that they cherish, and it means so much to them. But also, I'm always pushing the new agenda.
Yes.
I mean, another agenda, pardon my French, is fuck the past, fuck the future. We're in the now, and the now is the most important. And that's the whole thing. Like last night, I went on stage and Rick Owens and Sam were on heels. that broke. And it's interesting with Saint Laurent. Talk about Saint Laurent. Talk about the appropriation of rock culture.
Right.
But you see everybody from Travis Scott to Kanye to Weeknd to Drake. Everybody's wearing a black leather jacket.
Yeah,
everyone's got skinny jeans.
Mm-hmm. And what does that remind us of? I mean, they take a little bit from the past.
The Velvet Underground.
Yes. It reminds me of that too, and I love it.
1966. Jim Morrison. 1966, 67. And those dudes were wearing, Iggy Pop was wearing, I mean, everybody, all these guys were like young bloods at one time. They affected a style that was, complementary to their body.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to look the best. They wanted to accentuate their natural looks, and they wanted to wear something that made them feel strong and sexy and powerful. And yeah, absolutely.
And I have to say, I love where fashion is going now. I really do. I think it's a lot more sexier than maybe 10 years ago when everybody was wearing baggy clothes and what do they call those Pendletons? Those farmer.
Well, the Pendleton shirt?
Yeah.
I love Pendleton.
It depends, but it depends what kind.
Pendleton. Yeah, well, yeah, sure, but Pendleton. I stand on a Pendleton blanket every night. It's from a collection that was called, I forget the name of the blanket. It was done as a certain series, and it was called like American Night or something, and it's a U.S. flag with a kind of a Native American twist to it.
I like that.
They changed the stars to crosses, which represent the four directions.
Okay.
And then the actual stripes are more like a Vivienne Westwood squiggle pattern, which is based on an old rope pattern that she came up with. So it's a beautiful, and I've been performing on this, and some people are like, you're standing on the American flag. And I'm like, no, this is a beautiful performance environment. I'm honoring this, and it actually accentuates my performance space. And every night I know I have this environment that's consistent, like a hotel room. When I come in the hotel room, draw the curtains, I'll dress my room. I read many years ago that Keith Richards would come in the room and throw a scarf over a lamp.
Okay.
I've been doing that since I was a kid.
Wow.
So, the room has to have a certain aesthetic.
Yeah, I love that you come in and dress your room. That's awesome. A little bit of home, you bring it on the road with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I have a flight case full of candles and nonsense. It's just like, seriously, I just bring a few things with me, like a few bits and pieces, and I check them around, and it's good. I'm good.
But when you perform at these festivals, is it hard for you to catch other bands because of your tight schedule? Or is it you just, you come into a city and you just leave?
It depends. Sometimes you're lucky you get a day off, and, you're lucky enough to be able to come in and have a day at festival, walk around, see some bands. But for the most part, you pretty much roll in and roll out.
Okay.
I mean, that's one thing I'll say with, the whole question of everybody on the sidelines is like, well, you musicians can go out now and you can tour. You can make money from your tours. You can make your living from your tours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, a band like The Cult, we are, about to be 10 albums deep.
Yeah.
We have, our brand has been out there for a while. We have incredible supportive fan base and who honor us and bless, and they turn up in their droves, and it's really humbling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, it forces, and I really feel my heart breaks for younger musicians who are just getting into this industry.
Yeah.
And they are forced into an environment where there's so many artists on the road trying to make a living. And believe me, I make a modest living.
Mm-hmm.
I am not in the, I'm not in the Tidal Music Club. I'm not in that pay grade. But I do make a modest living. I've worked hard. I was very, as a kid, I had no respect for money.
Yeah.
For me, money was a tool to go out and be with my friends and just, I shared everything I had. I wasn't smart. I didn't buy property or anything like that. It was just whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go party.
Let's party. Let's have a good time.
and give stuff away,
Right. Yeah.
More like kind of in that sense. And then you get older and, you realize that you've got to make some investments and make some smart choices.
Mm-hmm.
But like everybody else, I've got a mortgage.
Yes.
But the hard thing is being on the road is that the actual prices of touring have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, fuel costs, hotel costs, staff costs.
Yes.
You have, if you want to put on a certain kind of production, you have to pay for that. So there's only a certain amount of resources on the road. There's only a certain amount of dollars out there, and it forces people, everybody's out on the road. Everyone's fighting to make a living.
Yeah. And that brings
scrambling
me
to make a living.
And that brings me to this
Yeah.
this next question, how you feel about social media. Because, yes, for these new bands, it is easier to get your music out, but it's harder to get paid, like you're saying.
Well, it's even with social media. I mean, it's like the same thing. It's a traffic jam. Mm-hmm. It's a traffic jam because there's so much information coming in. How do you discover new music? I mean, a lot of people say, well, you go to Spotify, you go to like Pitchfork, you go to, you know, I mean, whatever your choice of streaming, you know, what your streaming preference is.
Yeah.
Or you'll go to there's some great media, there's some great music blogs, great lifestyle crossover blogs. There's lots of editorials happening in different, I mean, one of my favorite places to discover music is the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Because they have an incredible arts and editorial. They have an incredible arts and current, you know, current culture. Because they realize it's big business.
It's big money.
Big business, big money, and they cover it very well. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, again, it's a traffic jam. It's like, how do you present yourself? I mean, knowing the algorithms of how Facebook works, knowing the algorithms of how the nuances of Instagram, the nuances of Twitter, you know, et cetera, and you're competing, and you're actually competing with
a lot
like
more
we
people.
talk about fashion.
Yeah.
Fashion has got very smart in terms of the way that they market through social media, and they have campaigns of billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And when your campaign is like $100 or nothing, or you're asking your friends to do stuff for you, which is possible, you can do stuff on your cell phone and edit and all that kind of stuff, but it becomes very time consuming. The quality isn't there, and then so there's a kind of a learning curve right now. There's a paradigm shift, and I still think we haven't settled into I don't think we've settled into kind of like a stable groove yet. It's disruption all the way. I mean, that's certainly one thing to get noticed is disruption. But you get into media disruption, and you better come up with something else.
Right.
You better have something else. Like, okay, great, seen that, done that. What have you got? What's next?
Exactly. What's next?
Give us more, quick, and give us a quick. And I ain't complaining about it because, you know, it's like, for me, my choice in life is I would rather have the ability to navigate the challenges.
Yeah.
As opposed to these are first world problems.
Yeah, I know.
These are first world problems.
Definitely.
You know, my social media doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I can't log on to Twitter. Do you handle your own Twitter and Facebook, or do you have somebody else that does that?
No, do you know what? It's interesting because if we've got a campaign coming up, like we do, about to come up, then we're bringing a team.
Okay.
And we work with a team that we've been working with for a while, and they're an excellent team. And because it's just physically impossible to be on my phone 24 hours a day globally, because we are doing it's all, you know, tailored to different environments and different regions and
there's
different
so
countries.
much that goes into it.
Our label's based in the UK. We have a US label. We have an Australian label. You know, a UK label handles Europe. Then there's like, you know, kind of an Asian-centric aspect to that as well. All different time zones, different languages, different social networks. I mean, in certain countries, different social media platforms, like streaming platforms, are much stronger than others. Mm-hmm. So it's impossible for me to do that when I'm doing nuanced things like editing lyric videos or looking at production for tours, or like yesterday, making sure that our house music was curated the way the walking music was curated, or that the opening music we used before the show was curated, or there was a little production, some production conversations about how the staging of yesterday we had some issues with because of the environment we're playing in, certain tonality issues.
Yes.
This is all like nuanced
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. So basically your time is more consumed creating than being on social media.
If I had a team of like 200, I'd go toe to toe with Kanye.
Yeah, and you could too.
But you know what? I respect and admire the man. I think he's incredible.
Yeah,
I love his passion.
definitely.
I respect his passion. I respect his drive. I respect his industry, and I respect his. I think a lot of people have trouble trying to really focus in what he is saying, but I get what he's saying.
Yeah,
He's basically saying the future is we're in it.
Yeah, we're in it.
And we're moving, and let's let's get on this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I'm a great admirer of his just as a basic, just as a musician, just as an artist.
Right. Yeah. No, Kanye's one of our favorites here too, especially mine.
He's made incredible aesthetic choices. He has a very curated eye, and you can't get that stuff out of a book. That's acquired over decades.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing through his work is, through decades of self-cultivation.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of our best out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to be on stage and see a sea full of people pointing cell phone cameras at you instead of lighters? I mean, every concert I go to, I see that, and I'm always like, the sound is not good.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's like different. I went to see Travis Scott recently in LA, and literally for the first 17 minutes, everybody in the room had a cell phone up.
I know,
except for one of the sound guys who's doing his show. He was looking at his cell phone while he's supposed to be producing the show.
Well, he's supposed to be taking care of the sound. Yeah. It's like no one can get rid of that cell phone out of their hand, even at shows. So I was just wondering how you feel about that.
It can be obtrusive, but it's like, because the kind of music we play and the kind of performer I am, it can be distracting, it can break the spell, it can be obtrusive, and it's also kind of obtrusive to people around you.
Right. And
when people don't drop into the performance and they're kind of documenting the performance, then they're not present.
They're not present. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. They're not present.
They're not present.
Yeah.
So it's really about the individual now. I mean, like, if somebody is kind of belligerently doing it, like, one thing, when you start seeing people waving iPads around.
Yeah. That's overboard.
It's just also obtrusive to people around them. So my take on it is kind of, a little bit of awareness about what it is in the environment. Sometimes I just ignore it. I'm too in the zone.
In the zone, yeah. Yeah, I'm at gigs and I'm like, okay, a few seconds is cool, but like really 5 minutes into the show, they're still holding it, So I just wondered how it made you feel. I
just got to kind of drop into my own business. I mean, I've had people removed. It shows when the phenomena first started, I just found it completely abhorrent, and it's like, get that dude out. It's too much. Stop disrupting the whole deal. Mm-hmm. And then it just became such an onslaught where you eventually just kind of go, you know what? I ain't going to police this. I'm not going to police adults. If they want to use the cell phone,
let them. Yeah.
The worst thing is when you see the footage back on YouTube.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like you're like, what?
It looks like shit.
Yeah, and it sounds like shit. It sounds like like you're at a concert standing next to the speaker. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. Do you have any pre-show rituals?
Loads.
Can we get a few?
You know what? It really depends on where I am.
Depends on what
like
city.
If I get, taking on water is really important. A little bit of quiet time somewhere. Quiet time, vocal warm-ups, some stretching. It's all inward. I mean, my process is all inward. I don't need external stimulation. It's all eyes closed, focus, ground myself.
Beautiful.
Set the intention for what I'm about to do.
Right.
Clear my head of all the domestic, anything that's external that's not going to contribute to that moment being an amazing moment performance. Mm-hmm. I just get myself set my intention, and then make a through line.
Well, this is great to hear. Yeah. So we know when we watch you on November 20th at the Palladium here in Los Angeles, you're very focused.
Primal Scream.
Yes. I can't wait for you guys to be here.
Yes, they will be. We are playing together. This tour is billed as the Primal Cult. It's not even a tour. It's a run of dates. Quick strike.
Yeah.
6 shows down the West Coast. Primal Cult. The mantra for this show is roll on over, or we'll roll on over you. If you want to see how it's supposed to be done with guitars, that's the show to go to.
That's the show to go to.
If you want to see a dude with a mixer in the background playing guitar and hitting samples with auto-tune,
no,
this ain't going to be that.
Yeah. This is real live band.
It's a live rock and roll show with the full spectrum of, the anthemic songs that we've been performing. Plus, people will know by now, with me, with the Cult, we are pushing it all the time.
Yeah.
Our songs reflect the environment. We have hip hop cadence. We have Eastern Asian influences. We have indigenous American influences. We have blues influences. We have punk rock influences. We have disco influences.
Yes.
We pull from so many different areas. And so our shows are really curated, textured, amplifier worship, primal, sexual, driven, earnest,
love it,
passionate.
I'm just excited to see you guys. I'm going to be at that show no matter what.
Cool.
Not going to miss it. So everybody listening, you got to get your tickets for November 20th at the Palladium. Plus, you're doing.
We're probably going to drop a new track from the new album.
Yay!
Every day.
Exciting stuff.
But don't forget, defend the beauty.
Yes.
That's the mantra, and you'll be the first to get the drop on that. So.
Okay.
You've been a pleasure to speak with.
Thank you, and I will see you November 20th.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And there you have it. For more information, log on to thecult.us. This is Trisha Cruz with your Playboy Radio's Music Spotlight.